Hello students, welcome to Chinmoy's YouTube channel. So today we are back with a set of sample papers on transpiration and photosynthesis. So till now whatever I have posted the sample question papers, please go through it. I think it will be very much helpful for you for preparing the ICSE board exams. So let us start with today's episode. But before that, I'll request you to subscribe to my channel if you have not yet subscribed so that you can get the updates whenever I'm posting. So in this part we can see we will be seeing few diagrams and from there we will be answering few questions. So let us see this diagram. What is there? We can see two test tubes are there and we know that oil is there on the top of water. So the first question is that name the process being studied in the experiment. So we all know what is the process being studied in the experiment. It is transpiration. Okay, so we all know the process studied in the experiment is transpiration. So what will you observe in regard to this experiment to the level of water when this setup is placed in bright sunlight? So we have studied in our book that when we are placing this almost for 2 hours in bright sunlight, what will happen in this X test tube? There will be no changes because the level of water will be the same, but in this test tube Y the level, though oil has been put on top of water to prevent the evaporation of water, then also we will see that the level of water reduces as well as the weight of the test tube also. If we are weighing both X and Y, it reduces because the water is lost through transpiration. Okay, so we are losing water through transpiration. So mention one adaptation found in plants to overcome the process mentioned in 1. Now, here this question means, what is the meaning of this question? They are telling that mention one adaptation found in plants to overcome the process mentioned in 1. So, to overcome this excessive transpiration, like if this plant is placed in sunlight for 2 hours, how it will modify itself or adapt itself to that environment to reduce that transpiration or water loss. So, we have studied that plants are adapting themselves to reduce excessive transpiration. How? They are, might be their stomata may be sunken or they are covered by hair as an oleander we have studied. So any one adaptation, the leaves may become narrow, or to reduce the surface area of the leaves may roll over or they may fold to reduce the exposed. So the actually the basic thing is they are reducing the exposed surface area. So the number of stomata also may be reduced as in xerophytes like cactus. So any one adaptation you can tell. So either you can tell that the number of stomata is reduced. So you can take any one of the example of modification of the leaves. So number of stomata, we can say the number of stomata is reduced. We can also any other adaptation you can say that the stomata may sunken or the leaves may become narrow or reduce the surface area. So we can say that leaves may become narrow. So that also you can say the leaves may become narrow or reduce the surface area or reduce the surface area. So surface area is reduced as the leaves are becoming narrow. So these are the main things in this experiment or in this diagram we can say. So let us move on to the next question, where same thing, we are having a diagram, we need to answer the questions. Now here see this question. The diagram of an apparatus given below demonstrates a particular process in plants. So study the same and answer the question as follows. So name the apparatus. We know this apparatus is, we all have gone through this before also. This is Ganong's potometer. Okay, this is Ganong's potometer. You all know this. This is Ganong's potometer. And name the phenomena. What is being demonstrated in this apparatus? This is transpiration. This is very important for you all. Please go through it. And in this last question, they have told you that explain the phenomena mentioned in the this apparatus. What is the phenomena happening in this experiment? So in brief you are supposed to explain the phenomena. So you all know that how it is being showing the volume of water uptake by the plant during transpiration. So using this potometer method, so explain this full experiment. So how we are measuring the volume of water, how that is being used up, or the uptake of this water during transpiration using this Ganong's potometer. So just discuss this experiment in full So try to write in brief points so that you get the proper time. Within the time only you can explain this. So I'm not going in details, you all know this. So let us move on to the next one. So here is another experimental setup. See, this experimental setup is same as the first one we have done. But here the experimental setup is a bit different. So they have given you this, with this weighing pan they have given you. So don't get confused. See the diagram, study the diagram and answer the following question. So name the process intended for the study. So what is the process? The process is obviously transpiration. So this process is the transpiration process, and we can say that this is the transpiration process, and define the above mentioned process. So you are going to define transpiration, you will define this process, that is transpiration. Now here the question is, when the weight of the test tube A and the test tube B is taken before and after the experiment, with the test tube has which test tube has the less weight. So give reasons to justify your answer. You all know that both are of equal weight before the experiment starts. When they are being kept in like under sunlight for 2 hours or more, so what will happen? This test tube will have less weight as it will lose water due to transpiration. And here is no water loss, as we have put a layer of oil, no evaporation of water is there. Here also we have put a layer of oil, though no evaporation is there, water is lost by the process of transpiration through the shoots as well as through the leaves. So this is the reason why the water is being lost, and how, and why this weight of this test tube A is lesser than that of B. So with logical reasoning, please try to explain these experiments, and you need to define here the process of transpiration. So this is same experiment as that of the first slide I have shown it to you. So stick to that only and write the answers logically. So let us see in the next experiment what we are having. Now here we can see that there is a given apparatus below, which is a setup to investigate a physiological process in plants. So the setup was placed in a bright sunlight and answer the questions that is given below. Now name the process which is being studied. So the process is, we are seeing the release of water vapor here. So release of water vapor by a plant. So this happens when due to transpiration only this happens. So the process is transpiration. Okay, is it clear? Now we are supposed to define the process of transpiration. That is, it is the loss of water vapor from the aerial parts of the plants. This process is called transpiration. Now why the pot is enclosed by rubber sheet? So we can see here in this experiment the pot is also enclosed by rubber sheet, because we don't want the evaporation or the water loss from these parts. It should be from the aerial parts only, to show that transpiration is happening in this experimental setup. So hence it is proved by this experiment. Now mention the two external factors which can accelerate the above process. Now two factors which accelerate the transpiration, we can say first is temperature. So more the temperature, more will be the rate of transpiration. Now next we can say that humidity. High humidity, what will happen if the humidity is high? Then the water loss from the aerial parts will be reduced. So humidity is inversely proportional to transpiration. So when the humidity reduces, the rate of transpiration increases. So high humidity decreases the rate of transpiration. So this is all for this experimental setup. So let us move on to the next one. Now the diagram below represents an experimental setup to demonstrate a certain phenomena in green plants. So what is the phenomena? Observe the diagram properly. So will the level of mercury in glass tube rise or fall? So after seeing this, we can tell, we know that what is happening in this. So can you recall what is this experiment about? So this experiment is about the suction pressure developed due to transpiration pull. So it is the suction pressure. The experiment was conducted, as it is telling, the suction pressure which is developed due to transpiration pull. Okay, the developed due to transpirational pull. So this is the experiment. So now we will see that will the level of mercury in the glass tube rise? So it will actually rise. So what will happen? The rise of the mercury through the graduated glass tube happens after the desirable time we have kept it. So what does it indicate? we know that it indicates the suction of the transpirational pull exerted. So which conducting tissues of the plant does the glass tubing represent? Say they are representing the xylem. So the xylem vessels which is transmitted to the water column in the glass tube and ultimately to the mercury level in the beaker. So actually the conducting tissue here is the xylem, which is transmitted to the water column of the glass tube. Is it clear? Now state two advantages of transpiration. So what are the two main advantages of transpiration? It helps in the cooling. It is having a cooling effect, and it is also helping for the removal of excess water from the plant body. So it is having a cooling effect, and it is also removing excess water from the plant body. Okay, we can say that it is helping in distribution of minerals also. So it is also helping in removal of excess water. It is also helping in removal of excess water, as well as we can say that it is also helping in the distribution of minerals. Okay, there are many uses of transpiration, so we can say that it is also helping in the distribution of mineral salts. Okay, so this is all in this part. So let us move on to the next slide. Let us see what is there. Now here we have given an outline sketch of a tree which shows a diagram, and study the same and answer the following question. So name the phenomena that is labeled in A in diagram. So here we can see what is being labeled A. So what is happening here? We can see something is happening in this part. So evaporation of water from the leaf surface into the atmosphere will happen in this part. So A, what is happening here? So evaporation of water will happen here. So in this part, evaporation of water is happening. So first we need to identify that what diagram they have given. So this diagram is transpiration helps in ascent of sap. I think you remember. So transpiration is helping in ascent of sap. So this experiment is this diagram is on that only. Now explain the phenomena occurring. We have seen that phenomenon which is occurring is the evaporation of water into the atmosphere. So we are telling that transpiration is helping in ascent of sap. So this full phenomena you need to discuss here. And due to the suction force or the pull, so this force is created by the loss of water. So as the water is evaporating from the leaves here, what is happening? A suction force is developed on the top of the plant which draws more water from the soil. So this suction pressure is causing to drawing more water from the soil through the roots to the stem. So this full phenomena should be discussed in this question. Explain the phenomena occurring in A. So what is the importance of this phenomena in plants? So we should write what is the significance of transpiration? That is removal of excess water, cooling effect, as well as the distribution of minerals as discussed in the previous one. So this is all for this one. So let us move on to the next slide. What is there? Now here I'll be discussing a few questions on transpiration as well as photosynthesis. So these are very common basic questions. So let us start with the first one. So define guttation. So what is it? You all know must be what is this guttation? It is the exudation of water droplets. So on the leaf margins we have seen some water droplets of the plant such as banana leaf growing especially in the warm and humid climates. So this exudation of water droplets on the leaf surface of the plants like banana in warm and humid climates is called the guttation. Now the next one is give one difference. Now these are very basic questions, though mostly I have written the answers for your benefit. So what is the difference between the lenticels and stomata? Now first we can say that lenticels, these are allowing the exchange of gases between the atmosphere as well as the internal tissues of the organs. So these are lenticels. Okay, and what is stomata? These are tiny openings of the pores in plant tissue. Now that is allowing the gaseous exchange to be the gas to be exchanged. Now stomata is actually or typically found in leaves of a plant, but can also be found in some stems. And lenticels, so here the difference is the lenticels are they are causing the exchange of gases between the atmosphere and the internal tissues of certain organs, whereas stomata are tiny openings or pores which are causing the gaseous exchange between the plant tissue and the environment. Now they are found in leaves as well as in some stems also. Now here the next question is mentioned two adaptations in leaves to form photosynthesis. perform photosynthesis. So what is the main adaptation? Now the large surface area is one of the main adaptations, because leaves which are having large surface area, they help in the maximum absorption of light. So the large surface area is the main point. First we can say that large surface area. So next one we can say that the large number of stomata. Okay, so the large surface area is the first one, and the next one is the large number of stomata. So is it clear? So these two are the main things. Others also you can tell, like the arrangement of the leaves, the concentration of chloroplast, and the extensive venation system. So these all are the adaptations to perform photosynthesis. Now the next question is, why do plants droop on a hot day even though the soil is well watered? Now you should explain it with reasons. Now generally during hot summer days, leaves, they absorb the energy from the sun to carry out the photosynthesis. We all know that. So leaves are absorbing the energy from the sun to carry out the photosynthesis, whereas which increases the temperature of the leaf also. Now this temperature of the leaf, what is happening here, is brought down through the rapid loss of water in the form of water vapors from the aerial parts of the plant through the process of transpiration. So thereby it is causing a cooling effect in the plants, and for that reason, as transpiration is happening through the leaves or the aerial parts of the plants, though they are well watered, they'll droop down in a hot day. So this is written with the basic points. So you can break it into different points and write it that due to transpiration or the loss of water, to keep the plant cool or cooling effect, this drooping of the plants is happening as the plant is absorbing more energy from the sun to carry out photosynthesis. So is it clear? Now let us move on to the next question. Now here the first question is, explain the term destarching. So what is destarching? So as the name suggests, destarching means eliminating the starch. So we are eliminating the starch from the leaves. So eliminating starch reserves in a plant for few experiments concerning photosynthesis. This is called destarching. So how is it done? So this is done actually by leaving the plants in a dark place for 3 days or more than 3 days. Now due to the lack of photosynthesis in this place, stored in this starch is used up. So as there is a lack of photosynthesis, in dark no photosynthesis is happening, so the plant is using up the starch and thus the plant is destarched. So this is clear. Now next one is, give the specific functions of hydrathodes in plant body. So hydrathodes, what are hydrathodes? These hydrathodes are the structures that discharge water from the interior of the leaves to its surface in the process of guttation. So these are hydrathodes. So what are the main function? Now as guttation is very much necessary, so it helps in the transpiration process. Now it is thought that guttation is a necessary process to absorb the solutes when the transpiration is suppressed. Now this hydrathodes, they help in facilitating the guttation process. Now it is also having an indirect role in the ascent of sap. So it is helping in the guttation process, it is facilitating the guttation process, it is having an indirect role in the ascent of sap also. Okay, is it clear? So these are the basic questions. I think many of the questions you already know. If you don't know, so wherever you are noting or revising your biology lessons, please do it in that sheet of paper only with this question and answers. So let us see what is there in the next slide. Now see this question. This is a very interesting question, that oxygen is a waste product of photosynthesis. So comment. Now oxygen we all know is released during photosynthesis. Now some of the oxygen is used in respiration by the leaves itself, but the major portion is not required. So what is happening to that portion? It is diffusing out to the atmosphere through the stomata. Now even this oxygen is not a waste, because all organisms require it for their existence, including the plants. So it is a very common answer, though you are writing it in different points so that you can prove that oxygen is a waste product of photosynthesis, though it's not being a total waste. It's being used for all living organisms for their existence. Now let us move on to the next question. Now, what is the importance of photosynthesis in the life of the following, like green plants and non-green plants? Now green plants are able to build up complex energy rich molecules of carbohydrates which are further used for different metabolic activities of the cells. So green plants, they are building up complex energy rich molecules of carbohydrates by the process of photosynthesis. Is it clear? And what the non-green plants are doing, they are such as the saprophytes and the parasites, they are using the food prepared by the green plants. So they are also indirectly dependent on photosynthesis for their life. So they are depending on the plants, parasites as well as saprophytes. They are depending on the plants to use the food prepared by the green plants during photosynthesis as a source of their own nutrition. So this is also a very good question, that what is the importance of photosynthesis in the life of the green plants as well as the non-green plants. So just go through these questions, and if you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe to my channel so that you can keep on getting the updates which I am posting regularly. Now here comes a question that give reason that green leaves are thin and broad. So what reasons I can give that green leaves are thin and broad? Now the surface area of the green leaves are thin and broad because it allows the light and carbon dioxide to be absorbed. So more the surface area, more the green leaves are broader or thin, more light will be absorbed and carbon dioxide will be absorbed. Now the leaf structure of these green leaves is thin and broad, allowing the increased transpiration. So more carbon dioxide as well as lighter absorbed, and transpiration has also increased due to the structure of the leaves. Now, how is the rate of photosynthesis affected when a green plants get green light? So green plant is getting green light. How the photosynthesis is being affected? Now the photosynthesis decreases and finally stops when the green plant gets the green light, because green light is not at all absorbed but it is reflected back by the plant. So the photosynthesis stops. First it decreases and then it completely stops as the green light is not absorbed and is being reflected back. So you can't replace the sunlight with a green light. So it's not happening like that. Is it clear? So the rate of photosynthesis will decrease and then it will be stopping. Now here the question is, explain the how the rate of transpiration is affected on a windy day, on a foggy day, on a intensity of light, depending on the intensity of light, humidity of the atmosphere. So this all are very common thing. You know that when there is windy day, it increases, the rate of transpiration will increase. When a foggy day, as there is it is foggy, as no sunlight is there or less sunlight is there, it will decrease. So intensity of the light, more the light intensity, more will be the transpiration. So it is directly proportional to the intensity of light. And humidity of the atmosphere, we can say that if the temperature atmosphere is humid, transpiration reduces, and if it is less humid or dry, the transpiration rate increases. So these are very common basic questions. I think you all should know this. If you don't know, please follow my channel where I am answering mostly all the questions. If it is very easy, then I'll leave it for you to answer. Otherwise, I'm answering mostly all the questions. Now here the next question is, explain why respiration is said to be the reverse photosynthesis. Now in respiration, what will be the answer? The oxygen breaks down sugars to obtain energy, carbon dioxide is released. Now in photosynthesis, carbon dioxide and water are used, and in presence of sunlight and chlorophyll, they form oxygen and OTP. So what is happening in respiration? The reverse is happening in the photosynthesis. So hence respiration is said to be reverse of photosynthesis. So respiration, oxygen helps to break down sugars to bring energy and carbon dioxide, whereas in photosynthesis, carbon dioxide and water in presence of sunlight and chlorophyll, they are forming oxygen. So respiration is the reverse of photosynthesis. Now in the last slide I'll be giving you a few questions, so take time, answer all the questions to get good marks. I think whatever I am suggesting from all these lessons, after referring to many years question paper, to many sample question papers, so I have made this paper where once you go through it, it will be very easy for you to answer these type of questions if you are getting it in your ICSE exams. Now the last slide, I am giving you a few questions. Just go through it and just you should try to answer it. Now the first one is define photophosphorylation, state the advantages of photosynthesis to the living world, state the location and function of lenticels, how the transpiration helps to cool the body temperature of a plant, what is stomatal transpiration, give the overall balanced chemical equation of photosynthesis in green plants, name any two plants which lack chlorophyll, define transpiration, differentiate between stomatal transpiration and lenticular transpiration on the basis of their mode of action. So when you are differentiating, just remember that on the basis of their mode of action they are telling. So they are telling you on which basis you should differentiate. So remember that and write that. And draw a neat and label diagram of stomatal apparatus. So please do practice it, whatever I am giving. Go through it and don't forget to write your comments in my comment box if you are having any queries, or if you want any special lesson to be revised with questions, please let me know. Okay, thank you all.